These are so similar. Can you cut the music, please? If we could have everybody please come in and sit down. I already did the gong. Y'all getting 2 gongs today, be grateful. I'll let everybody take their seats. Good morning. My name is Blake Marduk. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm the volunteer host. I'm the volunteer wizard for the day. I'm grateful that we can all come together in the spirit of shared community and values. Whether you're a long-term member or a first-time visitor here in person or joining on our live stream, we're glad to have you here. We are truly fortunate to be in this community together. So that our time together is not interrupted, please take a moment to silence your devices and put them on Do Not Disturb. I'll do it with you. I appreciate each and every one of you for your consideration and respect for our time together. let's get started. Our musical today, words, it's fine. Our musical guests today are Emer, Arkins on vocals and fiddle, and Eileen Gannon on harp. The first selection from this super talented duo is the medley of Comb Your Hair and Curl It, The Boys of Balasodere, and The Promenade. Thank you for bringing such joyful music into our midst this morning. Each week, we read the Ethical Education for Youth Core Values as a way to bring us together and remind us of our shared commitments. Where am I? Now it's time for our, hang on. I'm sorry, where did my page go? It's double-sided. There we go. Today, our core values reader is Cassie. If you would please come up to the stage.
Every person is important and unique. Every person deserves to be treated fairly and kindly. We can learn from everyone. We are a part of this earth, we cherish it and all the life upon it. We can learn from the world around us by using our senses, mind, and feelings. We are members of the world community, which depends on the cooperation of all people for peace and justice. We can learn from the past to build for the future. We are free to question. We are free to choose what we believe. We accept responsibility for our choices and actions. We strive to live our values.
Thank you. The Youth Education Program is available to all children and promotes a robust ethical education. And it is now time for our Sikh students to go ahead and head downstairs for their programs. I hope you all have a fantastic time. It is now time for our opening words, when we get to learn more about our fellow community members and their interests and passions. This is a time for us to deepen our connections with one another. Please welcome Anne Egebrecht onto the stage.
Good morning. What a beautiful crowd. I was afraid not many people would show up this morning, but look at you. So my name is Anne Egebrecht, and I've been around for a long time, 78 years. Some call me an old lady, which I am, and some call me a childless cat lady, which I am, but without the cat. In previous stages of my life, I have faced challenges and have met them. At this age, almost 80, oh yikes, I am trying to figure out what to do next. I can't do what I did earlier in my life, but I can still figure out how to be of some value to others. Here are some examples of what I've done recently. During COVID times, I learned how to use Zoom and now host a meditation group and a book club. When TWA, that's the Tuesday Women's Association here at Ethical Society, needed communication, I learned how to use Constant Contact and now compose a weekly newsletter. I volunteer at Litzinger Road Ecology Center with children experiencing nature through outdoor education. When a friend calls for help with her husband, I always try to say yes. Point is, I can't do what I did in my 40s, 50s, 60s, but I intend to find new ways to help others, which will give me a sense of value and purpose. And so, at this stage in my life, I have found that life does continue to offer growth opportunities. And it's up to me to accept these challenges, which I intend to do. What can you do at this stage in your life? Thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing those inspirational words with us this morning. It's now, if you are a member and would like to share opening words, we'll happily get you on the schedule. You can contact our interim director, Amy Miller, Carol Beer, or send an email to the platform speakers team. The team takes turns recruiting each month, so you may be asked to give opening words. I hope you will take advantage of the opportunity and share about yourselves. It's now time to move on to our second musical selection, so let's welcome Eileen and Emer back to the stage for Luck Earns Shore.
But an angel who fell from the sky, her hair it resembled gold tresses, and her skin was as white as the snow, and her lips were as red as the roses that bloom upon Lochern's shore. When I found that my love was eloping, these words unto her I did say, oh, take me to your habitation, for Cupid has led me astray. Forever I'll keep the commandments. They say that it is the best plan. Fair maids who do yield to men's pleasures, the scriptures they say they are wrong. Oh, Mary, don't accuse me of weakness, for treachery I would disown. I would make you a lady of honor if with me on this night you'd come home. Oh, had I the land
Thank you again for sharing your talents with us this morning. Before our main address, we'd like to take a moment to empty our minds, relax our bodies, and take some mindful, deep breaths. Please join me for 1 minute of mindful breathing. Thank you. Before we get started today, we're going to welcome our interim director, Amy Miller, to the stage for a special announcement before we begin our board panel.
Hello, good morning. As you all know, it's been quite a process to figure out how to cover all the staffing needs once I leave at the end of next month, and then Operations Manager Nancy Jelinek leaves at the end of March. But being unable to secure a clergy person this year required some creativity and shifts in thinking. So since our community forum in August, we've been tirelessly working on figuring out next best steps given the resources we currently have. We announced a few weeks ago that Rachel Jones would be assuming the newly created position of Executive Director of Finance and Operations, which absorbs the business and building side of things that Nancy has historically managed and expands staff supervision. That said, asking her to do all of that and cover programming and membership and all the other things would be a recipe for burnout. We are very aware that the positions of leadership at the Ethical Society have historically been way too much for one person, and we hope to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. Establishing and securing a healthy work-life balance for employees is a humanizing goal that I think we all support. Luckily, we had another wonderful candidate appear when we were hiring for the initial role, a candidate with strategic vision, relevant experience, and established community connection, which inspired the hiring team to think outside the box. Any of you who were here last week experienced a profound moment of connection when our music director, Claire Minnis, led the community in some group singing. Many of you have been involved in her choirs and connected with her about music. She is warm, engaging, organized, and inspirational, in addition to being a wonderful choir director. We are thrilled to announce that we have found the perfect person to join Rachel in executive leadership by promoting Claire into a newly created position called Executive Director of Community Experience. She will begin her new role January 1st, 2025. Claire and Rachel will be working in tandem to cover all the current staffing needs of the Society. Both positions are full-time. Claire will continue to cover our musical needs, but will also be working closely with the various teams and committees to help streamline programming, assist with lay leadership development, and amplify inclusion efforts. We do note that this role does not cover primary capital L leader responsibilities, namely delivering inspirational platform talks and providing pastoral care. Both Rachel and Claire are in support of eventually welcoming a clergy person back into our leadership team. This co-directorship model does not impact the ability of the organization to hire and support a clergy person, should one become available in the future. However, given the unknown future of the AEU, the American Ethical Union, and the currently unavailable training for ethical culture leaders, our primary objective was to cover our immediate needs. But again, this does not preclude the possibility of hiring a clergy person in the future, so please do not fret unnecessarily. You might, please try not to. I am personally very excited about this development, and I'm happy to leave you with two amazingly competent people who will collaboratively drive strategy and vision and care for our space and our resources, alongside our wonderful Board of Trustees, who you will hear from this morning. I'm sure you are all also excited, curious, and even in some cases concerned or anxious, and will have lots of questions that feel very urgent to you. However, I gently request that you give Claire and Rachel time to acclimate and settle into their new roles and responsibilities, and trust that they and the board will keep you all apprised of any new developments that may arise. We are all working very hard to keep the society moving towards a robust future. I'd also like to thank Rachel, Scott Wright, Samantha White, and Nancy Jelinek for their collaboration as we've worked together to put this plan in place. Clark Hoteling and Kathy Pickard can also attest that Claire was a very impressive candidate when we interviewed her initially. I'm thrilled this has worked out, and I feel so happy for all of you. Thank you. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you, Amy. And congratulations to Claire. Woo! Today, the Ethical Society of St. Louis Board of Trustees will be answering questions submitted in advance by the membership. And if time persists or permits, sorry, both, I guess, they will also be taking questions from the audience. Please welcome the Board of Trustees.
All right, thank you all for being here. I figured we'll start off with some brief introductions, and then we're going to pass it off to Matthew, who's going to talk a little bit about our organizational structure and the purpose of the Board of Trustees. So would you care to start, Samantha?
Hi, everyone. Samantha White, she, her pronouns, and I'm the acting secretary as of Monday this week.
I'm Scott Wright. I'm currently the board president through May of this year.
Matthew Heil, he, him. I'm the president-elect.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mary Ann Perkins. I'm the most junior member of the board. Oh, she, her pronouns.
And she contributes 100%, by the way. I'm Trish Cowan, she, her, and I'm the past president of the board.
And I'm Mary Murphy Overman, board trustee.
Go ahead. Okay, so you've met. Does this work too? Okay, I'm back. So you've met the current or the sitting board members. Now, one other thing you may notice is that one of our board members just resigned and took a job. It's a terrible loss. She was our secretary. Next slide, please. And so we had to replace Rachel. And according to our bylaws, we are allowed to replace the secretary with a currently sitting member of the board. And Samantha has graciously agreed to do that. But the other thing are, yes, let's please. The other thing is that we had an empty spot, and the bylaws say that the board can appoint an active current member for that position. And the board has done so, and we have added Christine Polite as our newest member. Thus sparing Mary Ann from being the youngest member. It was not intentional, but that's the way it worked. So next slide, please. How do we get to our organizational structure? So in 2011, back a long time ago, the congregation decided we wanted a new way to operate, a new way to work. And so they put together a governance task force that went and worked with the board, with other groups, and with the membership to create our model. And that was finalized in 2014. So we have been using that model for the last 20 years. Next slide, please. So this is our model. Oh, no. So what do those guys do? Let me have a microphone. Oh, not on? There it's on. Okay, I'm going to stand over here. So what do they do? This is perfectly explanatory. It's all I need to do, right? Okay, Gene. So what does the board do, and what is the ministry team? Next slide, please. So this is our design of our system. So the congregation... Yes, sorry. The congregation is the base of our authority. We all work at your request and with your permission. We serve at your pleasure. We've divided it into governance and ministry, two different spheres of expertise and choice. The governance creates the policy. So they create policies that direct the leadership team in how to behave and what to do. They supervise the leaders and the ministry team. They delegate, however, most of the operations to that ministry team. And the ministry team does everything else. Okay? Jointly, we create goals for the ministry team. We evaluate the goal progress, and we work together with the budgeting and finances. So we have committees, task force, and teams, and what is all of that about? We did it basically to confuse people, including ourselves. If anyone has not been confused by that, you may have a position on the board next time. So advisory committees. What are advisory committees? Advisory committees are for the board. These are groups of people who are brought together to provide information and reports to the board. They don't make decisions. They just provide the board with the information that they need to make informed decisions. And we've got two kinds of those teams, just because one was not sufficiently confusing. The first one are task forces. Task forces are created by the board to accomplish some specific task. So they're cleverly named task forces. So examples of these include the AEU Relationship Task Force, and you'll be hearing from their activities in a moment. The Leadership Search Task Force, which just concluded their operation a little while ago, and the Governance Task Force, which created these rules to begin with. Committees are the other thing under the board's purview. These are created and enumerated in our bylaws, or in our policies. And so they are really specified. Can we go, back slides, 2 slides, back there, thank you. Okay, so they're created in our policies and guidelines. Examples of that are Finance Committee, the Nominating Committee, and the Lay Leadership Development Committee. These are committees that have open, ongoing tasks. So it's different than a task force, which has a defined thing that it does. Now, on the other side, on the ministry team side, we are led by professionals, by staff, by a leadership team, and they have teams that work under them. Okay, so under the ministry side, we have teams. The examples include the Welcome Team, the Platform Team, Climate Action Now, and the Ethical Band. Who was here last Sunday for the activities? All of you were members of a team last Sunday. So congratulations, thank you. More importantly, any member can create a team to do something with the permission of the ministry team administration. So the Climate Action Now team was created in this way. People got together and said, we need to do something, we need to set up a team to do this, and they did it, and they asked for permission from the leader, and got it, and so off they went. So think about that when you think about things you would like doing. Think about starting a team. So in practical terms, what does this mean? That we have a decision-making structure that's divided into 2 poles, that we know exactly where the buck stopped for each of those poles. So if you want an activity, if you want it to be changed, you want it to be renewed, you want it to be eliminated, you contact the ministry team. If you have ideas you want to share with how the society should progress, where we should go, how we should move forward, contact the board. Okay? So that's, in broad brushstrokes, the way we are organized. And we'll take questions later on. And otherwise, you're welcome to come up to me and ask.
Thank you, Matthew. Let's get a round of applause. So we did solicit some questions in advance, and so we'll be addressing those. Matthew's introduction here is good because sometimes the answer is, that's not necessarily a question for the board, but it could be a question for the ministry team, and that's how that'll be handled. So one of the questions we received was, when will James Croft's portrait be hung along the wall with the other leaders? That is a ministry team task, which we have secured a picture for, and we have passed that task on to our operating ministry team to be completed in the future. Any other comments about that? Okay. Another submitted question, there were 2 that were closely related, so I'll read them both. What do the members of the board see as the time frame during which the society will operate without a leader? Would we consider training someone, such as a divinity school graduate or with a humanist outlook? And a separate question submitted was, when will the new leader search committee be formed? So we've just made a significant change in our operations and our governance with a newly hired position for Claire. And Claire and Rachel will need at least some time to figure out their new roles and how they work together and determine what our remaining needs as a congregation are. We can foresee that perhaps pastoral care, perhaps speaking engagements and platforms might be some needs that a traditional leader would fill, but is there more? Is there less? How do we fill that? Do we need a full-time leader? Do we need a humanist chaplain? There are a lot of unanswered questions, and I will say there's not full agreement or consensus right now about how to move forward. So we're going to be in a period of transition and fact-finding and consensus building and having conversations. So with that, I don't know that I could officially give a time frame. I'd like to invite some of my other board members to comment if they have other thoughts. That's good enough? Okay. If you have follow-up questions, we will be passing the mic around in just a little bit. Next question. Does the board want our society to remain a member of the American Ethical Union? This is a sticky question. And one of the first things I want to say about it is the way it's worded, does the board want the society to remain? This is, at least my personal philosophy, is I am an elected representative and trustee that represents your interests. So what I want, and I think what the board should want, should be reflective of what membership wants. To that end, we have created the AEU Relationship Task Force to do research and observation and collect information and present it back to membership about what is the nature of our relationship with the AEU, what are our values, what are we worried about, and what's the most effective use of our resources. And that work is ongoing, but we are moving towards a point where we need to make a decision. I don't want to go too far down making this entire Q&A just about the AEU relationship. So what I will say is that the AEU Task Force is planning a forum in January specifically to talk about our findings and our recommendations regarding the AEU. That will be followed up by a special membership meeting where we will hold a vote on how we want to move forward with our relationship That should be conducted late January, possibly early February, but that is the approximate timeline we're working on. Any other comments?
And as a reminder, as members of the society, you have access to all of the information that is submitted to the board meetings on the membership website under a password-protected site. If you don't have the password, Nancy Delinick, Operations Manager, can help you access that.
The last question here, I think I will summarize. What can we do to make sure our purpose and our mission comes through all of our various programming to ensure thematic consistency and clarity of purpose? Thank you for that question. I will say this has been something that's been a little bit difficult for us, particularly as we've been in an interim period with Amy. We've had to do many things, such as ensuring our staff is well in place and building our communication skills as a congregation. But since COVID, this mission-oriented programming has been sort of a difficult niche for us to fill. But one thing we have done as a board and collective with our ministry team is we've just hired a brand new executive director of community experience that will largely be able to focus on exactly this issue in question moving forward in January 2025. And so we're very excited to see how we can support Claire and all of you in helping her to fill that role at our society.
Thank you. We also consider the mission and the vision twice a year when we meet to discuss our goals and the ministry team's goals. So it's not like we have these statements and we never refer back to them.
That exhausts all of our submitted questions. I believe Samantha has volunteered to walk around with the microphone. If anyone has spontaneous questions or follow-ups, please raise your hand.
And I'm going to preface this. When I hand you the microphone, I would ask that you ask a question and not make a comment. Comments can be submitted to the board feedback form, and we will respond to you that way. We'll go to Stephanie. I saw her hand first.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Segala. Since I am a past board member, I know that somewhere coming up in our used to be plans was to create a new strategic plan. And given the fact that we have a lot of new structure in place, my question is, do you plan to move forward with a new strategic plan sometime soon?
That is a great question. I might need to lean on some of my other board members here. What I will say is the last time we did a strategic plan was in 2019. So we have a robust strategic plan that is currently built out that got almost immediately derailed by a global pandemic. So we have that to use as a starting point. And then we did a leader search, and then we ended up with an interim leader. So we had just determined at the time not to basically follow through with that strategic plan or developing a new strategic plan as we were in a period of interim. But I think moving forward in January 2025, I think we're going to be well positioned to reevaluate the 2019 strategic plan and determine what changes might need to be made. Any other comments?
Hi, everybody. I'm Maxine, and I have a question about the ministerial side of things. How is that going to be handled since we don't have a leader? Do you understand my question? No. No, on the chart, there was governance and ministerial. Governance we get. Ministerial, if there's no leader, clergy leader and staff, will it be just staff, or how will that be handled?
So at this point, we have a leadership team which would be Rachel and Claire. So in the interim, they will lead those efforts.
I'm Joe Bobka. This one is in the weeds, but on the ministry side, people have paid positions. Are they employees or are they members also?
Employees.
Follow-up. Are those mutually exclusive positions? You cannot, if you're part of staff, you cannot be a member?
I believe that is correct. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think current bylaws or policies state that non-leader and non-executive staff cannot be members. So what that means is potentially we could pull from membership to fill a leadership spot or an executive spot, but not other staff positions. Is that right, Trish? Thank you.
I'm Andy Jackson, and I just have a practical question. Rachel and Claire have very complicated job titles. What is the short form way that we can refer to them?
Yeah, by their names. And that's a really, that's a really great question that I don't know that we've fully processed and thought through. So we will add it to the, hey, what are we going to do in the future? And I think Jim.
And all of those people have email addresses. That is the first letter of their name and their last name at ethicalstl.org.
We have been in emails in shorthand kind of referring to EDCE and EDFO. I don't know if that'll stick. We're figuring it out.
I'm Jim Rhodes. I would like to know what it would take for us to take a position on some issue like the war in Gaza, and recently this came up. I submitted an email to one of the board members, Matthew, about there was a petition I would like to see us sign on to about climate change, and we want to see the United States government still stick to the goals of the Paris Accord, which of course are probably going to be undone by Trump. But back to the thing on Gaza, I had submitted a statement to the board, or a resolution, which I had hoped we had adopt back in March, and it went nowhere. I mean, I got no feedback about it at all, which was, not going to read it, but it was a bunch of whereas type statements like, we're a culture of peace. We say things like, we believe in freedom and dignity, and then we want to follow up with, basically, we want to see peace and an end of the war, and it went nowhere. So what does it take to get us to speak out on some issue like this or get a response to the board? So I think this is important. I was very proud when we were doing the Black Lives Matter protests up on Clayton, but now we say nothing.
Thank you, Jim. I will say I apologize if we did not follow up. I thought that we had, so maybe we need to connect afterward. But this is a difficult issue, and we do have, is it a policy or a bylaw? I guess it's a policy that outlines a very specific procedure and process for taking a position as a board, and it involves a communications plan and multiple membership meetings, and then I think a vote of I don't know if it's half or 2/3. I guess I'll say regarding that issue in particular, it was not clear that we had a representative consensus of membership, and we did not want to make any statements that did not represent everyone in our membership. That would be one obstacle for that particular issue. Does anyone else want to provide context or feedback on that?
I, for one, would like to see more description of what we endorse and represent as the Ethical Society of St. Louis on our website, so that when people go looking to find out, well, what are they all about, it's right there. But as Scott explained, we do have some procedural efforts to make when we make a position statement. If you would like us to make position statements, bring them forward.
I will say also that the board, there are 7 members, we are all volunteers, and we actually have other functions that we have to see through. So if this is a passion of yours and it's something that you want to advocate for, then I suggest humbly that you do some work, some team building, and bring a coalition and hold those meetings. It can't all be from the 7 members on the board. It is a whole community effort. So I encourage, if this is something that means something to you, then please bring people together.
Hello, I'm Veronica Erb. I'm curious, I know there's energy from a lot of folks from the pre-COVID area about the ministry and how things are going to change. I've only been here since Amy is a director, and I adore them and how it's been. So I was curious if you could talk a little bit about what has been missing and what's going to come, because I'm nervous. Thank you.
Don't be nervous. I think we're in a good spot and we're well set up. I would ask, were you here? I guess it was the first Sunday after the election, and we had James sent in a video. Many of our members were. It's on the YouTube. I was going to say the type of address that he gave, really going for inspiring the community and drawing it back to our humanist values and making that a central theme of many of our addresses is something that we haven't had. I mean, Amy is not a certified ethical culture leader. We didn't hire her to do that. So we haven't had that as much. But also, as we mentioned before, pastoral care is a component of leadership, which is something Amy has been able to provide with her background, but we'll be losing that. And she has provided us lists of secular and non-religious therapists and resources to help fill that need in the interim, but it is something we will need to figure out how to address permanently, I believe.
If you're interested in what the leaders have to say and how they are different, the website has platforms by the leaders, so you can go listen to their stuff. Particularly, I would recommend Kate Lovelady's. She did a series of platforms on how we are different from a variety of other groups, including the people who stay at home Sunday morning to read the New York Times. So they're really illuminating, and this is the kind of leadership that we have had in the past.
Another thing that leaders historically have done for us is conduct naming ceremonies, funerals, well, what would they call memorial service, celebrations of life, thank you, and marriages, so, or weddings. So we don't have that. Through the AEU, several members in the past have been ordained, and so they've been able to do that. Our current membership, I don't think anybody has that. So as we look at our affiliation in the future, perhaps that's something else that we can bring back.
We have time for one more question.
Hi, I'm Nancy. A lot of my question was clarified with that last one, but just as a practical matter, what will we do as a community to support someone who has lost a family member or, needs that kind of, who would conduct a funeral or a celebration of life? Who would that be? I'm just still not clear.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, so we do have a very involved caring team. And those are several members who get together just to kind of stay up to date. They go through the membership roster and they talk about people who we've seen recently and who we haven't seen and what's going on with them, and they stay in contact with them. I've been to celebrations of life where our own members have gone ahead and done the leading of it. So I think that will probably continue. It might be something that our executive staff will want to try on at some point, but this is where lay leadership really comes into play. Every one of us in the room can be a leader, can lead a team, can speak out, can support one another.
Thank you all for showing up and asking questions in advance and such thoughtful questions from the audience.
I think the last thing I'll say is, I mean, we had a goal, I think it was the last board year, was to increase transparency between the board and the membership. Things like this, the forums that we're having a board Q&A panel, are part of our efforts, which were directed by you, to increase transparency between the board and membership. So we hope you feel that we're doing that. And also, this is not the end of the conversation. You can talk to any of us at any time. We all have emails. We all get coffee downstairs. And there is a board@ethicalstl.org email address that you can always reach out to an email with any issue. Thank you.
I'd like to extend another thank you to our board members for answering all of our questions and being so forthright. The welcome team will now take up a collection to support the society. We rely on the generosity of members and friends, so please consider donating. If you don't have cash with you today, you can donate at ethicalstl.org/donate or use the QR code on the screen. We appreciate anything you may be able to offer. If you're interested in joining the Ethical Society or you are a visitor and would like to know more about the Society, please visit the Visitors Connect table in the Becker Room after platform today. I actually believe it's in the library today. All right. We have a lot of announcements today, so buckle in. I'm not kidding. Okay. Number one, we have so many talented, interested, and creative people in our community doing all kinds of cool stuff. Did you know that many of us have written and published books? We would love to invite you to join us in the Becker Room for the first annual Authors Fair on December 1st, 2020. I believe this is 2024, but this says 2025. Okay. I was like, that's a long announcement. I'm going to reread that. We would love to invite you to join us in the Becker Room for our first annual Authors Fair on December 1st, 2024. Before and after platform, you will be able to purchase signed copies directly from the author. If you are an author and missed the previous notices about this, please do not hesitate to contact our event organizer, Kathy at kathy@shrink.org, to be able to be added to the list to display and sell your books. We hope to see you there. Announcement number 2. Bring your best chili to the chili cook-off and compete for the golden ladle, or just enjoy tasting and voting to help raise funds. Non-chili options like hot dogs, veggie dogs, and appetizers will be available. Celebrate the season at our traditional holiday candle lighting with songs, stories, togetherness in the auditorium. Then head outside to the parking lot where we'll have a fire pit and Festivus pole, a DIY hot cocoa and cider bar, lighthearted fun, and great company. Kids can also enjoy games and photos with the Grinch in the Hinky Room. This is for good cheer, I'm assuming. Okay, cool. I wasn't given the title, just making sure. We could use lots of help to pull all this together, so please sign up to volunteer or donate by December 12th to make these events magical. Thank you. Good Cheer is on December 15th. I would also like to make an apology to our musicians today. Apparently, we mixed up your last names, so I would like to formally apologize for that. More announcements. Okay. Many thanks to Kit Rogers, Dan Overman, Bob Pickard, at the Ethical Navigators, James Nieberge, Holly Brubaker, Samantha White, and Christine Polite for being lead volunteers for last week's Service Sunday platform, and many thanks to all of you for your participation. Together, we wrote 47 cards to members, packed 180 plus warming kits, and had 50 plus clothing bags made, 2,000 emergency contraception kits, cleaned the foyer windows, organized good cheer decorations, and cleared out a lot of the honeysuckle. We hope you also made a new friend and walked away feeling proud of our collective accomplishments. Please share constructive feedback about the event with Crystal White so she can plan for the next Service Sunday. Thank you. Last announcement. I'm so proud of you all. Okay. Hopefully, you know about the going away party after platform on Sunday, December 8th for interim director Amy Miller. If not, please add it to your calendar now so that you can enjoy the food, fellowship, and opportunity to extend your best wishes and sincere appreciation for Amy. In addition to the celebration, there's a collection box in the Society office for folks to drop off a thank you note for Amy. Blank note cards and pens are also available near the collection box. If you wish to show your appreciation to Amy by giving them a monetary gift, the board will facilitate this as a group gift from our community. If you plan to contribute, please bring cash on December 8th or Venmo your gift to Samantha White at Samantha-White-77. And the last 4 digits of the phone number is 8966. Or you can use the QR code on the screen. Not this, okay, not this one. We'll give you a new QR code eventually. By Thursday, December 5th. Please put, quote, gift for Amy, end quote, in the memo line. Our group gift will be presented to Amy at the party on the 8th. Okay, that's all of them. I'm so proud. We would love to keep you informed about future events at the Ethical Society of St. Louis. You may use the QR code to sign up for the weekly newsletter, check the Friends of the Ethical Society Facebook group, or email the relevant staff or member. This is a busy and vibrant place that relies on volunteers, and I hope you get involved and connected into the community in ways that feel meaningful for you. For our third musical selection, please welcome Eileen and Emer back to the stage for their final performance of the day, a medley of George White's and McGettrick's. I believe I forgot to do the, did we already do the collections? Okay. I didn't see them move, so I was reading them. We're good. Thank you again so much for joining us today and filling our halls with your wonderful, talented music. Thank you all for being here today, for each other and for yourselves. I hope today's platform helped you feel more connected to one another and motivated you to get involved in the community in ways that feel good for you. I invite you to return next Sunday to hear our annual update about the Uganda Humanist Schools Trust and our partnership with them. Yes, go ahead and clap. It's great. And of course, I welcome you to spend more time in community today. There's coffee in the back room downstairs, and if you don't know where that is, just follow the crowd. Have a great